Welcome to the Explainer. So, get this. What if I told you that back in 2025, the biggest act of rebellion wasn't happening out on the streets, but right there in your kitchen? Yeah, today we're going to unpack this huge cultural shift, one that basically turned cooking from just another chore into this incredible form of self-expression. And the way we're going to do that is by looking at the 2025 Douyin Food Content Creation Annual Report. It's this really in-depth study put together by the social media powerhouse Douyin and the data folks at New Rank. And trust me, this thing is way more than just numbers and charts. It's like a window straight into what a whole generation was feeling. And what this report really digs into is this one fascinating question. When exactly did cooking stop being about just following a recipe? It paints this picture of a world where our kitchens basically became these personal labs, places for creativity, self-expression, and yeah, even a little bit of beautiful, glorious chaos. All right, so let's get into it. The key to understanding this whole thing is this new term that popped up, food IQ. Now, this has nothing to do with going to culinary school or knowing all these fancy techniques. Nope, it's all about your knack for playing with food. Understanding it, reinventing it, and just having a good time. It's really that big shift from food just being fuel for your body to food being a way to show yourself some love.
Okay, so what does this food IQ actually look like when people are doing it? Well, the report breaks it down into three major creative movements that just completely blew up online. They're all super distinct and honestly pretty fascinating. So, first on the list, we have heretical cooking. And yeah, it's pretty much what it sounds like. This is where you just toss the rulebook right out the window. Tradition ignored. We're talking wild, mix-and-match combos, super messy experiments, and, this is the best part, actually celebrating the so-called fails as part of the fun. And you gotta understand, this was not some tiny niche thing. The hashtag for heretical food got over 1.7 billion views. I mean, billion with a B. It's such a clear sign that people were just hungry for something real, something authentic, a real break from all those perfect, super polished food pictures we're used to seeing.
All right, next up, we have a philosophy that's a bit more like a creative puzzle. It's called Food IQ Evolution. With this one, creators stopped being just cooks and started acting more like, culinary architects. They were taking flavors apart and putting them back together in these totally surprising and amazing new ways. A perfect example of this in action? Cosfood. This is where food literally becomes art you can wear. Like a sneaker made of bread or a handbag made of cake. You name it, they made it. It was this wild mix of food, fashion, and humor, and it totally caught on, racking up over 600 million views.
And that brings us to the third and final philosophy. And this one is an all-out rebellion against that whole stuffy, pretentious fine dining scene. It's called deconstructing refinement, and it's all about making fun of that super expensive, overly formal, exquisite food and, bringing the dinner table back to the people.
But here's the thing. It wasn't just about being cynical and tearing things down. It was about building something new, something real. This whole push was driven by a powerful need for comfort and authenticity. And the proof? Well, the numbers don't lie. The hashtag for just simple home-style cooking got a staggering 2.1 trillion views. People were literally choosing the comfort of a home-cooked meal over the idea of a Michelin star.
So that makes you wonder, right? Why then? What was it about 2025 that sparked this kitchen rebellion? Well, according to the report, the answer has almost nothing to do with food. It's all about our emotions.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The report basically maps each of these cooking styles to a core emotion. So, heretical cooking, that's all about rebellion, taking back some control and freedom. Then you have home-style cooking, which is like a comfort blanket, a way to deal with anxiety. Food wasn't just food anymore. It became a kind of emotional toolkit.
All right, so we've seen the different styles, we've talked about the emotions driving them. Now, let's pull it all together. The report really boils this whole thing down to three massive takeaways that tell us a lot about the future of food.
Okay, here they are. First, the value of food completely shifted. It went from just being about sustenance to being all about emotion and self-care. Second, the content we watched changed. It went from being these strict tutorials to being a celebration of creativity, mistakes, and all. And third, our interaction with it all changed. We stopped just passively watching and started actively participating, creating a real community.
So when you boil it all down, the single most important thing to take away from all this is that it was never really just about the food. It was about an entire generation discovering a new, creative, and delicious way to practice self-care and basically say, I love me.
And that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? If the kitchen became the ultimate stage for self-expression in 2025, it really makes you wonder, what's going to be the next everyday canvas for who we are?